And now, I call on Gordon Blitz for our drush for this evening.
Shabbat Shalom. Our lives are filled with rituals, mythological reenactments, the rite of passage, family rituals. Think life cycle events, marriage, funerals, bar or bar mitzvahs. Traditions are similar in that beliefs or behaviors are passed down, tied to the past. However, they do not need to be performed in a prescribed order. These definitions blur when you combine them with habits like spring cleaning, putting on your right sock and then your left, saying love you at the end of a phone call, taking off your shoes when you're in your house, or eating Chinese food on Christmas. Some we're taught, others inherited, and some come to us through a form of osmosis. Here at BCC, we have our own set of traditions and rituals, the order of the prayers on Shabbat, Kol Nidre beginning at 7, and touching the person in front of you during the prayer over the challah. By touching each other, it links us together as a congregation and with the challah. Another ritual and tradition we have is including LGBTQ people that have died with no one to say Kaddish for them. Many of these BCC actions were handed down from generations of Jews who came before us. Others originated out of necessity to honor our LGBTQ roots. We may not always understand why, but we usually know, we can guess where they came from. But what if you were a Mexican family and you lit candles on Friday nights, only ate corn tortillas in the spring that coincided with Easter, or following the death of a loved one, you watched from the moment of death until the burial, clipped their fingernails and toenails, and ensured that the body was wrapped in white? What if you didn't mix dairy with meat, or refused anything from a pig? Or how about only eating water-dwelling fish that have fins and scales like tuna and salmon, because in your family, shellfish was forbidden, despite being a staple of a Spanish diet? You are Catholic, yet these rituals or traditions are unlike the religious customs that Catholics follow. And if you asked, the only explanation was these were practiced by our ancestors. These questions became the basis for my upcoming historical fiction novel called Convero Jews, A Hidden Family. It deals with a Mexican family who follow many of the rituals that Jews have practiced for almost 6,000 years. Through my research, I used the Spanish Inquisition when Jews had to convert to Catholicism in order to avoid torture and death as the reason behind these traditions and rituals. These Jews were named conversos and recently rebranded as crypto Jews. Yet that inbred sense of Jewishness continued to be practiced underground. It was part of their DNA and their survival, no different from the way that the LGBTQ community was required to hide their gayness for fear of recrimination or death. Jews had to think up ingenious ways to deceive the Grand Inquisitor in his search for Jews. If a person was spotted dressed up on Saturday rather than Sunday, the Spanish authorities called it Saturday shirt, and a Jew would be arrested under the suspicion that they were attending Shabbat services. Delaying baptism was a trigger point. Jewish men had to hide their circumcision. Bathing on Fridays could expose your Judaism, and it inferred that you were having a special Friday night dinner. A character in my novel tells her family, now, during the day, when the Inquisitor's henchmen are on the lookout for Jews fasting on Yom Kippur, carry a toothpick so that it will give the illusion that you have eaten. And God forbid anything should happen to me and I die, I want you to follow the tradition of having 10 Jewish men gathering at my home. So in order to camouflage the attendance, you just say you're consoling the mourners like a novena. Remember, the novena is a daily prayer for 9 days, asking for divine intervention with a group of parishioners. Recently, I discovered that Converso Jews had immigrated from Spain to New Mexico. In my novel, a character explains, in Catholic school, we were told that after a person dies, a priest sprinkles holy water over the deceased, followed by a wake and a vigil for a week. And during the burial service, there's an open casket for mourners to pay their last respects. My character continued and said, so I was surprised when my mom said they were going to wash Grandpa's body with warm water and then dress him in a white burial shroud. There was no wake, and we had the funeral services and burial 2 days after he died. And there was no open casket. Why was it so different? Another Converso Jew character revealed, right before my wedding, my grandmother gave us this large knitted blue and white shawl. She said to wear it sometime during the ceremony. It was big enough to place around our shoulders. I loved the idea of wrapping our love together. We'd never seen this done at a Catholic wedding, and it was only when we saw the film Fiddler on the Roof that we suspected it was a Jewish tradition. Think about questioning why we perform certain rituals or traditions here at our beloved synagogue, deciding whether to shield our face during certain prayers, sitting or standing, reciting the Kaddish or not, wearing a kippah, saying Lashana Tova, Good Yontif, or Happy New Year. Where did these rituals and traditions originate? When you started Hebrew school, or from your family, or here at BCC? In the 21st century, we haven't needed to hide our faith or our sexuality, although those rights and freedoms are under attack. Think about what traditions or rituals you would follow if you were hiding. Which are the most important? Which would bring clarity to your life and make sense of chaos? Which of these would you need to survive? Shabbat Shalom.